This is Tin Caps Baseball on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Getting ready for this series opener here at Fort Winds Field in South Bend, Indiana, right here on Tin Caps on Deck, presented by Hoopie Insurance Services. Jaden Taylor here alongside Tin Caps manager in Jonathan Mathews. Fourth straight series, you guys at least take a share of a 6-game set, able to come back in a couple of ball games this past week. How much confidence did this last month of baseball bring to this group?
I think a lot more than the first couple of series, to be honest. And I think a lot of that started here in South Bend. But yeah, I think Dayton has a good baseball team, and to come away with a split with them, I thought our guys played well. A couple in dramatic fashion, Jack Costello, big homer one night. But yeah, I think the guys are starting to kind of get their feet under them and feel like we have a chance to go out and win basically almost any night.
It's back-to-back series as well. You guys fall down 2-0 the first two games of this series with tough losses on the Wednesday. One walk-off and then the tough one up against Dayton as well. How much resiliency did it show for this group, punching right back, winning back-to-back in both those series after the first two losses?
Yeah, a lot. And this last week, we got punched in the mouth pretty good the first two nights. And so I thought the guys responded. Seems like when the games are close, we play pretty well and have a good chance. And then some nights get away from us, but that's baseball, I guess. But yeah, I thought the way the guys responded after getting beat up first couple of nights was impressive.
Overall, 3 different comeback wins last week up against the Dragons. I think overall this group, we even saw it in a tough loss on Wednesday, not going down without a fight in any sort of situation. Is that something you've seen this group mentally just want to go through kind of any of those stretches?
Yeah, it's a good clubhouse, and I think that's where that starts. These guys play for their buddy. They play for their teammate. They're all trying to advance their careers and get to the big leagues eventually, hopefully. But they're really good at kind of being where their feet are, and so I think that starts in the clubhouse and the relationships they have, and so that's been fun to watch from my end.
You mentioned Jack Costello's walk-off winner on the weekend. I don't think, at least from my perspective, anybody embodies more the ability to only look at one day at a time than Jack Costello the way he has this season. How big was that for him in that moment?
We had a meeting with Jack the other day. These guys all have what we call player plans, things that we want them to, goals we want them to reach, things we want them to work on. And so I asked him about how he finished the season last year on a kind of a high note, and his season this year has started off pretty well. I asked him what the difference was, and he said he got better at doing just that, taking one day at a time. He said, at the beginning of the year last year here, he'd go 0 for 4, and then the next day he's chasing 3 hits and 1 at bat, and he said, I stopped doing that. And so it's one day at a time for him, and it's, proven to be successful.
Jaden Taylor here with Tin Caps manager and Jonathan Mathews. Take us through your feeling and your eyes as you watched that ball leave the yard on Friday.
I couldn't have been happier for any of the guys than I was for Jack Costello. He's an incredible teammate. He's an anchor in the clubhouse. He's a hard worker. So yeah, he as soon as he hit that baseball, it was like a feeling of joy. You could just, and not just from me, but throughout the whole dugout.
Going back to this past weekend, the bullpen between Tucker Musgrove and Clay Edmondson, another lockdown day on the Sunday. Let's talk about Clay first off. 10 saves this season. It leads all of minor league baseball. I was talking to him earlier. He seems like he just finds a way to always be hot the night that you guys need a save opportunity out of him. How well has that worked out for you?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable when, give Clay Edmondson the baseball in the 9th inning and we have a lead, sometimes in the 8th inning. And I feel like at that point my decisions are finished. I've made all my decisions. If it works out, it works out, and if not, that's the guy I want with the baseball. And so he's going to get it as much as he's available for us.
Adding Ty Adcock for last weekend as well as this week, guy who has major league experience. What has he done to this clubhouse and for these other relievers?
He's kind of a quiet leader, but I think what guys have noticed, I noticed he's the first guy here every day. He's the first guy in the training room. He gets his treatment before everybody else gets in there, so he's not in anybody else's way. It's just he's a pro, and he, graduated through the minor leagues and got to the big leagues and has some big league time, and I think that's important for these younger guys to see kind of how he goes about his business.
Looking towards this week, last time you guys were back here, won 5 in a row, 5 of 6 overall in that series against South Bend. Since then, they've won 13 of their last 17, one of the best groups in the entire league right now, including 5 straight. How do you look at this series compared to last time out?
The rosters are pretty similar. They like to run. They have good arms. They have some guys that can swing the bat. So any night it's going to be a tough matchup. But I tend to worry more about our guys executing what we need them to execute than I worry about the other team. So yeah, they're an opponent, but I've always taken the philosophy we kind of play against the baseball, regardless of what color jersey the other guy has on.
Matthew Watson on the bump tonight, coming off of Tommy John surgery, 5 innings last time out. It seems like every single time he's gone to the mound, he's kept this team in the ball game. What have you seen that's been so special about Watty?
Yeah, he's a competitive. He wants the baseball. He doesn't like to come out of the game. I think he likes this starting role. He started out of the bullpen for us, but I think he likes this starting role. He can kind of plan his week a little bit more. But yeah, he goes out similar to Carson Montgomery. They go out and they compete and they give you a chance, and that's all we can ask out of our starters.
What is the big key for this week for this group to get a win?
I think we need to do a good job. I thought we did last time against these guys. I thought we did a nice job controlling their running game. They like to run, and they're very successful at it. So I think, perfect world, they won't have a ton of traffic, but if they do, I think it's important for us to be able to kind of slow them down on the bases a little bit.
Sounds good. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jaden.
Starting lineups, the first pitch coming up next, right here on Tin Caps on Deck.
Podcasts by Federated Media.